Minutes. Please find your seats. Yes, sir. Okay, and mine's under my chair, so you can share mine. That'd be great.
I'm already sweating underneath my cover here.
Sure.
A good day to be a mom.
The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. At this time, please take your seats. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the host for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Scott A. Spellman, the 55th Chief of Engineers and Commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Command Sergeant Major Patrickson Toussaint, the 14th Command Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we welcome you to Fort Hamilton, New York, and thank you for attending today's change of command. This morning, we bid farewell to Major General Thomas Tickner, the commander of North Atlantic Division, and welcome the incoming commander, Colonel John P. Lloyd. In a moment, I will ask you to stand for the arrival of the official party, rendering of honors, the playing of the national anthem, and the invocation. In keeping with the honor and distinction of the ceremony, please silence all phones and other electronic devices. At this time, we would like to welcome our distinguished visitors, the Tickner family, the Lloyd family, Mr. Stephen Castleton, the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Ms. Charisse Spellman, Major General Richard J. Heidkamp, Deputy Commanding General for Headquarters USACE, and his wife Shannon, Command Sergeant Major Patrickson Toussaint and his wife Tanya, Ms. Karen J. Baker, Senior Executive Service for North Atlantic Division, Ms. Karen A. Payne, Senior Executive Service for Headquarters USACE, the North Atlantic Division District Commanders, Colonel David Melendez of the 254th Regiment, Colonel Craig Martin, the Fort Hamilton Garrison Commander, and Stephen Tambini, the Executive Director of the Delaware River Basin Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you direct your attention to the front row as members of the North Atlantic Division team make a special presentation to the Tickner and Lloyd families. In a tradition symbolizing the appreciation of the support and contributions made by loved ones, and on behalf of the soldiers, civilians, and families of the North Atlantic Division, Major Nala Mothu is now presenting a bouquet of red roses to Mrs. Sherry Tickner and single roses to Major General Tickner's daughters, Brooklyn and Audrey. To welcome the Lloyd family to the North Atlantic Division, Sergeant First Class Quinones is presenting a bouquet of yellow roses to Mrs. Stacy Lloyd. Providing the ceremonial music for today is the United States Military Academy's Brass Quintet, led by Staff Sergeant Brian McKinney. The artillery gun salute for the ceremony is led by Colonel Ray Meckman of the 9th New York Field Artillery personnel. From time immemorial, armies throughout the world have conducted ceremonies to commemorate victory over an enemy, to honor their heroes, to celebrate special occasions, or to pay homage to their fallen comrades. These ceremonies add color and pageantry to military life. In the United States, the foundation of our present ceremonies was laid by the Continental Army. Today's ceremony is a reflection of the procedures practiced since the dawn of our nation. The ceremony is derived from our Army's firm manual of ceremonies, the Blue Book, written by General von Steuben. The ceremony you are about to witness includes the arrival of the official party, a gun salute, rendering of honors, honors to the nation, and change of command. We hope you enjoy this historic event. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, playing of the national anthem, and the invocation by Chaplain Scott Norman. For today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Spellman has deferred honors to Major General Thomas J. Tickner. The members of the official party are the Commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Lieutenant General Scott A. Spellman, the outgoing Commander, Major General Thomas J. Tickner, and the incoming Commander, Colonel John P. Lloyd.
As I pray in my tradition, please join me in yours. Honorable Father, we ask your blessings upon this change of command for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, North Atlantic Division, as Major General Thomas J. Tickner comes to the end of his tenure as commander. We thank you for the characteristics of strength, humility, and servant leadership that he imparted to those under his charge. He sought to exit this command, leaving the unit better than it was when he entered. And indeed, the goal was accomplished with excellence and integrity. The phrase, well done, good and faithful servant, certainly does apply. Sir, may the Lord bless you and your family as you continue to rise to meet the challenges in your new assignment at Fort Sam Houston. As we move forward, we ask God's strength upon you, Colonel John P. Lloyd, our incoming commander. May the gifts of wisdom, courage, and excellence be bestowed upon you. May you and your team continue to soar in the areas of planning, design, construction, and operation and maintenance of water resource projects. Through deeds, not words, shall you build strong. In your sovereign name, most holy one, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The military change of command ceremony goes back to the beginning of our nation's history and provides for the orderly transfer of organizational responsibility. The passing of a unit's colors is a symbolic act through which the outgoing commander relinquishes authority to his superior, who in turn passes the authority on to the incoming commander. The colors symbolize the very soul of the United States and the North Atlantic Division. The colors stand as a reminder of past glories and traditions, stand as guardian over the present, and inspire in soldiers and civilians the loyalty, duty, and courage to achieve victory in the future. Tradition holds that the colors lead the unit into battle. As an organization is symbolized by its colors, the act of passing the colors from Major General Tickner to Colonel Lloyd represents the passing of responsibility from one to the other. Throughout history, commanders ensured that their colors were carried by one of the most trusted soldiers who had proven himself in battle. However, the United States Army Corps of Engineers is a unique partnership between its military and civilian team members. Today, therefore, the honor of bearing the colors is given to Mr. Reinhard W. Koenig, our Senior Executive Service civilian, who represents the division's critical civilian workforce. Mr. Koenig will pass the colors to the outgoing commander and receive them again at the conclusion of the ceremony. The official passing of the colors will now begin. By authority of Army Regulation 600-20, paragraph 2-5, the undersigned assumes command of the North Atlantic Division, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, effective 24 June 2022, signed John P. Lloyd, Colonel, Engineer, Commanding. Mr. Koenig will now pass the colors to Major General Tickner, the outgoing commander. Major General Tickner now relinquishes the colors to Lieutenant General Spellman, Commander, Chief U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Lieutenant General Spellman now entrusts the colors to Colonel Lloyd, the incoming commander, signifying his trust and confidence in his leadership abilities. The colors are finally returned to the custodian of the colors, Mr. Koenig. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Scott A. Spellman, Chief of Engineers.
Well, thank you, Jody, and welcome, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this beautiful day here at Fort Hamilton as we recognize two amazing leaders. And you've already heard the names, Major General Tom Tickner and Colonel John Lloyd, and the great organization that they command, and of course that's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers North Atlantic Division. Before I begin my comments this morning, I always just like to take a brief opportunity and thank everyone who put this amazing event together. These don't come together overnight. This takes many, many hours of hard work. And as you look around, there's always a large squad or a small platoon behind the microphones and behind the cameras. So just a special thanks to everyone, especially the person who ever ordered this weather. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for helping set this up. Amazing, amazing morning. So before I talk about these two great leaders, I know Tom and John would agree with me that none of us in uniform accomplish anything by ourselves. We have a lot of great people at our side. I mean, just look around. The professionals, the civilian and military professionals of the North Atlantic Division are great partners and stakeholders throughout the NAD's footprint. And of course, the great families that both of these officers belong to. And let me just talk a little bit about the families. And Tom, with your permission, I'm going to start with you and Sherry. If you don't know, Tom and Sherry have been married now for about 20 years. Sherry's an architect, and she has continued her professional career alongside as Tom has continued in his military pursuits and along their many, many military moves. They have 4 children. Son Austin, age 18, just finishing up his freshman year at Penn State University. He's studying civil engineering, right? And this summer, I understand he has an internship in a construction management firm. So Austin, there you are. Austin, I gave you my card right before this ceremony. 3 years. Look at that number. I want you to call me, okay? We'll talk about a job. Plenty of work. Son Mason, right here, age 15 at 6'2", still growing, has a growing love for basketball and volleyball. And of course, Tom and Sherry are here with their daughters, Brooklyn and Audrey, age 12, both sincere love of volleyball as well, and certainly outdoor adventures. And I just also want to thank Sherry's parents being here, George and Claire, from just across the Hudson River, the great state of New Jersey, made it all the way in from Boone. So George and Claire, thank you for being here as well this morning. And just like the Tickner family, John has been blessed with a constant source of support from his family as well during their 16 military moves. John and Stacy have been married for 32 years. They met in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I have it on good faith, a good account, that I'm told it took John several tries, several attempts, but he eventually won Stacy over while they were dating. They have 2 children. Their son, Jordan, who is a submariner, a submarine officer in the U.S. Navy, currently assigned to the 2nd Fleet in Norfolk, Virginia. He graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering from the Rochester Institute of Technology. He is married to his wife, Anna, and they have 1 child, Sophie, who just turned 1, and we're blessed to have Sophie with us here this morning as well. Their daughter, Morgan, lives in San Antonio, Texas, with her husband, Adam, who works for USAA. Morgan works as a political consultant in Texas, advising candidates running for office. Morgan graduated from the University of Kentucky. And then, like Tom and Sherry, we're also blessed to have Stacy's dad here, Ron, all the way from Fort Worth, Texas. Ron, thanks for making that long trip to be here with us on these special days. So let me just state the obvious. As I said, none of us do this by ourselves. These officers would not be where they are today without the love and support of their families. And ladies and gentlemen, I would just ask you for a round of applause for these exceptional Army families. They really are exceptional. So just like Jody just said, the change of command ceremony that you just witnessed, this really is a time-honored tradition in the U.S. military. And it's also a time for us to recognize 2 incredible leaders during their time of leadership transition. For our outgoing commander, you heard me say this at the award ceremony, it's an absolute understatement for me to say we have been blessed to have Tom in our ranks in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers over these past several years. Today, the division he leaves behind consists of 3,500 professionals, military and civilians, engineers of all trades, including a regional headquarters, 6 subordinate engineer commands, district commands, operating in the northeastern United States, Europe, Africa, Turkey, and Israel. And during these past 2 years, during this very large and complex region, Tom was responsible to providing support to not only the Department of Defense, but 13 state governments, 3 FEMA regions, and 3 combatant commanders. In his role as division commander, Tom also served as the federal representative for the Delaware River Basin Commission, the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, and the Interstate Commission on the Potomac River Basin. Under Tom's leadership, this region has made significant progress on several fronts and has a lot to be proud of, and I'm just going to highlight a few. First, and of course most recently, the ongoing war in Ukraine. For those of you who don't know, under Tom's leadership, this region has been providing exceptional support to our European Command and all our deployed forces in their European contingency locations. Our work in the European Defense Initiative and NATO-funded infrastructure is making a difference in this crisis, and this division, I know, stands ready for changes to our European posture, all pending, of course, future NATO leadership decisions. Next, I would highlight the ongoing infrastructure program in Poland. This is new. This division has established a Polish-provided infrastructure office that collaborates daily with the Polish Ministry of Defense in delivering what has become over a $5 billion program in Polish-funded infrastructure in the coming years. And this is an important initiative to our many partners, both in Europe and across NATO. And then finally, I would just highlight, many of you will remember this, Operation Allies Welcome. As all of us watch the crisis unfold in Afghanistan, Tom's team partnered with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State to assess numerous sites across the northeastern United States to receive and process these Afghan refugees and their families. We are incredibly proud, of course, of Tom's leadership, but all of the supporting real estate professionals, our engineers, our project managers, our attorneys in our offices of counsel, our financial resource managers, and all leaders who stepped up to respond to this incredible challenge to help these Afghan families navigate their way into the United States through both the Philadelphia International Airport and the Dulles International Airport onto their follow-on locations. And I highlight those three because it's all of that, plus the base program, this massive mission that this division retains in its military programs and its civil works. And under Tom's leadership, this division executes an annual budget of more than $5 billion in military construction. Listen to this, at 63 different military installations across this region, a civil works program of more than $455 million across 13 states, and support internationally, as I mentioned earlier, that covers 3 continents. And on top of all that, Tom always makes the time as a senior responsible officer here at Fort Hamilton to proactively engage in the community, certainly here in the city of New York City, enhancing our relationships and our recruiting efforts for the United States Army and taking care of people all along the way. His focus was always on improving support for soldiers, military families, and veterans and all that live here. And Tom, we can't thank you enough for that. Tom, you have, it's an understatement. You've done an outstanding job here in North Atlantic Division. You have demonstrated your leadership. You've driven this division to overcome some of the toughest challenges we face across this enterprise, and we've learned a lot from you along the way. I can't thank you enough again for sharing your exceptional leadership with us over these past few years in the Army Corps of Engineers, and I know Army Materiel Command and Installation Management Canada are going to benefit from your leadership as well. We've been blessed to have you on this team, and I just want to personally thank you for all of your efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, our incoming commander is equally as talented. And Colonel John Lloyd is no stranger to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. From June of 2020 to just this past month, John served as the Army Corps of Engineers Chief of Staff, a 3-star level direct reporting unit to the Chief of Staff of the Army, comprised of over 38,000 military and civilian personnel, with an annual portfolio now of nearly $84 billion, a massive and historic construction program that we're undertaking. And so over the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to work with John every day in our headquarters, and I got to witness how he masterfully managed our headquarters staff, coordinating with multiple senior leaders and senior executives, commanders, and our staffs in the field. And I will just tell you that John's daily efforts have paid huge dividends, promoting the Corps as a best place to work, as defined in our most recent Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey. But it's much more than that. As I mentioned, for the past 2 years, I've watched John lead our organization through countless initiatives that were critical to our command's success, as I mentioned, in delivering this massive program. A number of months ago, when we learned we were going to lose General Tickner to the Army Materiel Command, I was approached by both General McConville, the Chief of Staff of the Army, And General Martin, the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, said, wow, we've got a great leader leaving a very large and complex region. General Spellman, what are you going to do? And so I told both General Martin and General McConville, well, I would like to put John Lloyd up here in NAD. I've watched him. He can manage a number of multiple demands and competing priorities all at the same time. He's exceptional with people, and he knows how to run a large program. They were good with that immediately because they knew John. Both of those individuals handpicked John previously to serve on one of General McConville's number one priorities. That's his People First Task Force. And John, if you don't know, was pulled to go to a team at Fort Carson initially, and then they sent John over to Korea to get after some of the people initiatives that were very important to the Chief of Staff of the Army. And John just absolutely knocked it out of the park on both of those. So John, I just personally want to thank you again for your exceptional service to the Corps and to the Army. We cannot be prouder or happier for you and Stacy and your family today. I told John and Stacy before the ceremony, we can't talk about it today, but the Army has much bigger plans in store for John and his family, and today is just the beginning of all of that. So John and Stacy, congratulations to you as well. So in closing, let me just say that we just don't pick any commander to come up here to North Atlantic Division. We have to pick people that are highly motivated, agile leaders with the ability to manage this tremendous volume of day-to-day business and facilitate the long-term success of this great organization. And Tom and John, you have proven time after time that you are the right leaders at the right time, at the right place to lead us into our future and all that lies ahead. And I'll just leave it there. For the members that are all with us today from the North Atlantic Division team, I want to thank you as well for everything you do. You've had some great commanders. You have an outstanding outgoing commander. You've got a great incoming commander. But we know how important it is of your leadership as well and your execution down at the ground level. And I trust that you will continue to engineer solutions to this region's toughest challenges in the weeks and months ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us today. I'll just end by saying, SAONS, Army Strong, Building Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Thomas J. Tickner.
Lieutenant General Spellman, thank you for those kind words and for presiding over today's ceremony. I appreciate you and Charisse making the trip to Fort Hamilton to celebrate my time in command of the North Atlantic Division and to welcome Colonel John Lloyd and Stacy Lloyd to the NAD family. Thank you, sir, for your leadership, mentorship, and guidance. Command Sergeant Major Toussaint, our USACE Command Sergeant Major and my former battle buddy from the Pacific Ocean Division, thank you and Tanya for being here and for representing our non-commissioned officers corps, the backbone of the Army. You are an absolute inspiration in your care for people, your commitment to the mission and daily demonstration of what right looks like. Civilian aid to the Secretary of the Army, Mr. Steve Castleton and friend. Other civic leaders, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here today. It's an honor for you to be with us, and we appreciate your stalwart support to our programs and partnership in all that we do. To the North Atlantic Division alumni among us and those watching online today, thank you for your ongoing support to NAD and to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So 13 years ago, I sat right here in the audience off to the side with my DPM, Mr. Roy Denmark, who's in the second row. Audrey and Brooklyn were just about ready to be born, but I was here. And Brigadier General Todd Semonite was relinquishing command to Colonel Duke DeLuca. The farthest thing from my mind was coming to command this great organization. And in fact, as soon as the ceremony was done, Colonel DeLuca came up to me and said, "What are you doing here? Your wife's pregnant with twins, and she's having labor right now." And I immediately left, thanks to Duke DeLuca. But that's a memory from this spot, and one of the main reasons why we're doing it outside today and not inside. To the civilians and soldiers of the North Atlantic Division, you are the leaders, scientists, engineers, and mission enablers who work together without fanfare to solve the nation's toughest challenges and to set this division up for success. No USACE project or solution is possible without the people who work to achieve it, and we thank you. Thank you all for being here to mark the end of my leadership tenure with this esteemed organization and to celebrate the installment of a new leader who will guide you into the future. When I took command of the North Atlantic Division in July of 2020, Major General Jeff Milhorn and we likened the change of command to the passing of a baton during a marathon relay. This metaphor is lived out again today with our programs, projects, and operations. Though the battalion changes hands again today, the commitment to run the race remains. This is the USACE promise to our partners and communities and the nation, that we are with you, and we are committed to securing the nation, energizing the economy, and reducing disaster risk. This is why we serve. At the North Atlantic Division, I've had the privilege of working with some of the best leaders and mission partners who make big things happen every day. Leaders like Karen Baker and her team of dedicated professionals who never hesitate to dive into tough problems. Her passion and tenacity and teamwork help us deliver the best program in USACE. While Karen will be leaving the division soon to assume a new executive role with the U.S. Department of Interior, NAD is better off for having her at the helm in programs over the last few years. She will leave behind a well-oiled machine. Mr. Rhino Koenig was my other arm, uniquely experienced to lead our regional business directorate, which keeps the division running now and well into the future. Rhino will transition into programs director role, and his wealth of experience in how USACE runs and championing mega projects all over the region makes him the right person at the right time to provide his executive leadership to this role as Karen departs. Now, if Karen and Rhino spearheaded the many programs and initiatives that make this command great, it was Colonel Sam Volkman, the deputy commander, who kept us all in sync with each other and our division staff. These senior executives and leaders were critical advisors to me as we navigated COVID, delivered the program, and set the division up for future success. My heartfelt thanks to you all and our team of dedicated professionals here at the division headquarters for your service, support, and guidance these last 2 years. So there is no doubt that the strength of the Army and of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is our people, and the districts are our center of gravity. The districts in the North Atlantic Division execute crucial programs and projects across the region and throughout the continents of Europe and Africa. I would like to take some time to share with you the highlights of our region through the lens of our 6 districts. So I'll start with New England District. In January, they awarded a long-anticipated contract to build a new lab for MIT Lincoln Laboratory on Hanscom Air Force Base. It enables the most advanced microelectronics research and prototyping, which is critical to our national security. The groundbreaking for this facility is set to take place in just a couple of weeks from now, with Colonel John Adelano and Scott Oconee representing the tremendous job of the professionals throughout their district. MIT Lincoln Labs is a really cool, yet very, very complex project, something I've come to realize the New England District thrives upon. Colonel Matt Lozado and Joe Seabode have one of the toughest districts in the division and arguably of all of USACE, the New York District, and it's still delivering with their partners on projects from Superstorm Sandy 10 years after the deadly storm ravaged the Northeast. Most recently, awarding projects along 83 miles of vulnerable coastline on Long Island. After the remnants of Hurricane Ida came through last year, the district has received new project funding and studies to continue to make New York and New Jersey more resilient to future storms. Additionally, they have their hands full with multiple major upgrades at West Point to include construction of the new Cyber and Engineering Academic Center. Moving down to Philadelphia. The Philadelphia District has continued to grow and expand its role as a national leader in the practice of beneficial use of dredged material. In recent years, the district, led by Lieutenant Colonel Ramon Bergante and Kurt Huckman, has conducted dredging and beneficial placement in coastal New Jersey. They have strengthened their partnerships with states and nonprofit partners to share knowledge and best practices. This work serves to create and enhance habitat, improve coastal resilience, and clear federal channels to enable safe maritime navigation. For Baltimore District, perhaps nowhere is their impact felt daily than in the homes, businesses, and government offices of about 1 million folks in the District of Columbia, Arlington and Fairfax counties in Virginia, and elsewhere throughout the state. This unique project that touches so many is the Washington Aqueduct, the only federally owned and operated public water supply agency, which under the current Baltimore District leadership with our cost-sharing partners is undergoing a sweeping modernization effort. Baltimore also supports the many military and national security agencies in the Washington, D.C. area, highlighted by their work on a new multi-billion-dollar NSA campus, a superb district led by Colonel Esty Pinchason and Dave Morrow. The chief mentioned Operation Allies Welcome in his remarks, and this was clearly a significant lift for the division. Most of our districts played a role, but Baltimore and Philadelphia districts handled the lion's share of the load last year, a truly humbling experience for both districts as they helped to change the lives of countless families. Standing shoulder to shoulder with our Department of State and Department of Homeland Security partners, we were often among the first to greet these families as they arrived on U.S. soil. Moving farther south, Norfolk District has the distinct honor of leading our efforts to expand the nation's most hallowed ground, Arlington National Cemetery. Colonel Brian Hallberg and Mike Darrow's team recently completed the design and construction of the cemetery's administration building renovation, and the southern expansion project is in its final design phase. This effort will add 50 acres to the cemetery and a future cemetery operations complex. The work will allow our nation to continue its honored tradition of laying to rest our veterans well into the future. Norfolk also recently moved to the construction phase of the City of Norfolk's massive coastal storm risk management project to strengthen the city of Norfolk against future storms. Moving overseas to Europe District, Chief talked about the tremendous partnerships Colonel Pat Dagan and Justin Weatherax and their team of soldiers, civilians, local nationals throughout Europe, Israel, Africa support U.S. European Command, U.S. Africa Command, and U.S. Central Command with a strategic DoD realignment to Israel. I have personally enjoyed the relationship with Mr. Erez Cohen, who is the USACE counterpart in the Israeli Ministry of Defense, as Europe District continues to build strategic facilities and our USACE enterprise delivers other key strategic capabilities for the country of Israel. In Europe, I am convinced we are making a difference in containing the crisis in Ukraine through our execution of the European Defense Initiative and the NATO-funded infrastructure. We have also established the Polish-provided infrastructure office that General Spellman talked about with Colonel Eric McFadden, living there and collaborating with our allies in the Polish Ministry of Defense every day. Right now, our many delivered projects across Eastern Europe, particularly in Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and the Baltics, are playing a key role in strengthening NATO, reassuring our allies, contributing to readiness, and deterring further aggression. The Chief also mentioned our work to support others beyond construction projects. Many new partnerships in Europe and Africa are due to the efforts of our division, the Europe District team, and the many enablers from the USACE enterprise, like the Engineer Research and Development Center, Army Geospatial Center, and the USACE Institute for Water Resources, just to name a few. Each and every one of our districts is a powerhouse, from its leadership to its support staff. It has been my honor to join you as your commander these past 2 years. I am humbled by your dedication and commitment and offer my heartfelt thanks and admiration for your unending effort to deliver the USACE promise. I know Colonel Lloyd is excited to work with all of our NAD superstars and to take on the mantle of leadership of this remarkable organization. I got to know John when I commanded the Pacific Ocean Division, and he became the senior engineer in Korea. John's aggressive but clear and calm leadership style brought direction and as the U.S. refocused on the Korean Peninsula to deter North Korean aggression. I have no doubt John is the right leader right now for the North Atlantic Division. John, as I pass the baton to you today, I know you will continue to run the course hard, as previous commanders have done, and that you will serve this region well. I wish you and Stacy all the best of your time here in New York City and look forward to hearing about the many more amazing achievements from the North Atlantic Division under your command. Saving my most personal thanks for last, I must recognize the support system that gives me the motivation to face each day, and that's my family. The Chief spoke on each, so I won't go into any more detail other than to say I am proud of them all, especially my beautiful wife. She is an incredibly talented architect and professional and does a phenomenal job of balancing her career and the needs of the family. And our 4 kids continue to amaze me in their resilience, their understanding, especially with their dad spending significant time away. They have not just survived our military life, but they have thrived. Austin, Mason, Brooklyn, and Audrey, I am proud to be your dad, and I look forward to the adventures yet to come. To my mom, Helen, who's watching from Pennsylvania, thank you to you and Dad for support and encouragement over the years, and to stay the course. All our accomplishments are because of the love and support you instilled in us and continue to nurture to this day. Thank you. Sherry's parents, George and Claire Williams, they've always been there for us. We benefited from that unwavering support again in this assignment as they live just over the Verrazano Bridge and Goethals Bridge over in New Jersey. And I won't miss the traffic going back and forth or the bridges, but I will miss them as we enjoyed many, many dinners and happy hours together these past 2 years. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for everything you do for us. Finally, Sherry and I could not have maintained our work-life balance without our nanny, Petra, who has been with us for almost 12 years. When the kids were young, it felt like a farm. Now it's more like a student-athlete program with everybody going in different directions. As I depart New York City today, there is much I will remember. The unique opportunity to serve the nation in and from this great city, but also the 126 COVID tests required for travel throughout Europe, Israel, and Africa. And many of those thanks to our own Fort Hamilton 24th Civil Support Team, where they provided many of those tests, and for teaching me a PCR is not the worst thing about COVID testing, because I had a throat swab in Germany, a blood test in Israel, and my dreaded and now infamous false positive in Poland that came with a nighttime 12-hour drive across Europe just to get back to Germany. Also, some once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, like participating in the 9/11 memorial events with the FDNY, and the many other events across this great region. But all of my adventures while serving here, I will most fondly recall you, my NAD family. Meeting our people in the field where they do the nation's work every day has been the very best part of this job. Our teams in the division and districts are delivering innovation every day with passion that has moved and inspired me. As we turn the page in NAD's story, know I will cherish these fond memories. The lessons learned will help me take on new opportunities at Installation Management Command. I will undoubtedly lean on the enduring spirit of USACE and my friends and colleagues when our Army installations face tough challenges. Some of you are already on speed dial. As I relinquish command today, I look forward to embracing our new relationship as a USACE stakeholder, advocate, and friend. Building strong, Essayons.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Commander of North Atlantic Division, Colonel John P. Lloyd.
Chief, as General Tickner said, thank you for presiding over today's ceremony, and thank you for the great opportunity. Charisse, thank you for making the trip up from D.C. and sharing the special day with Stacy and I as well. Command Sergeant Major Toussaint, Tanya, thank you for being here, part of the family for many years now. Sergeant Major, I'll miss our many talks up at the headquarters about everything from fishing to pig killing to how we can get the staff to do the right thing. General Highcamp, Shannon, thanks as well for being here today. Part of our family. Sir, thank you for your friendship, your mentorship during my time at the headquarters. I am certainly going to miss our many talks throughout the day, laughing, crying, banging our heads on a wall over the headquarters budget. I think Mr. Steffens is listening, and certainly we miss him up there at the headquarters as well. But thank you for everything, sir. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony, either in person or virtually, to include local representatives of the great New York community in Fort Hamilton, Mr. Castleton, general officers, Linda, I know you're somewhere out there. I saw you, Linda. Thanks for being here. Members of the senior executive service, friends, and of course, my wonderful family. I'd like to especially recognize some people that I think are online listening, but General retired Semonite and Connie, Major General Toy and May, the Kaisers, General retired DeLuca. I was told General retired Savre is either listening or here. All of them saw something in me, mentored me along the way to get me here. And I definitely appreciate the time they took to do so, and then their time to either be here again virtually or in person. For General Savre, when I was a battalion commander chief, I deployed the 19th Engineer Battalion during Hurricane Sandy up here to Fort Hamilton in the greater New York area to take part in the dewatering mission as far for Task Force JTF Pump. At the time, Colonel Savre was the commander of NAD. I was certain, like many commanders, he would fire me any day from the mission, but his leadership taught me a great many things about being patient during a crisis and things that would certainly serve me well later in Puerto Rico. A very special thanks to Colonel Dan Gray, who's here attending as well. He's always been an inspirational leader, mentor, and friend since I was a young captain, who I know for sure wanted to fire me many times. Sir, thanks for not doing that and seeing something in me that I never saw in myself. Stacy and I are both grateful that you're here and only wish Joan could be here as well. She'll remain an inspiration to us all, and we continue to keep you and your family in our thoughts and prayers, sir. To all our family and friends, some in person and some watching virtually, thank you for touching our lives and supporting us in this next assignment in our military journey that continues. My father-in-law, Ron Sanders, who's here. My mother-in-law, Connie, couldn't make it. Ron's a retired Army pilot. I've never held that against him. I always say he earned all his pilot pay. It was his base pay that I always challenged. Ron's a veteran of Vietnam. Dad, thanks for your service to our country and all the things you've done for Stacy and I. My friend Jeff Tracy is somewhere taking pictures. He's in the back there. Jeff and I grew up together in a small western New York town of Lockport right outside Buffalo. Jeff's been at every family event since I can remember. Jeff, thanks for making the trip here today as well. Team Slaney, thanks for being here. I wasn't sure if you made it in last night, but it's good to see you as always. Team Mosley, our close military friends, Team Caruso, and many others. We love you all. Thanks for being part of our family and our continued journey. Colonel Sam Volkman and Lena, just want a special shout out to you for welcoming us to Fort Hamilton, taking care of us along the way to get us here, and opening up your house and your arms to Stacy and I when we arrived. We're extremely grateful, Sam and Lena. Thanks for taking care of us. Colonel Craig and Christy Martin, I know you're out there somewhere. There you are. Thank you, our great Garrison Command team. Thanks for opening the community up to us and welcoming us as well. We look forward to serving with you over the next couple of weeks, Greg, and then as you move on into your next assignment. Sadia, thank you for preparing the house and the incredible welcome for Stacy and I when we arrived. General Spellman, So a couple days ago, someone mentioned to me that they saw me smiling and that they had never seen me smile as the Chief of Staff. Now, you and I will dispute that. We know at least one time, General Heitkamp, I probably smiled up at the headquarters. It wasn't the day I was leaving, but I'm sure I did. I'm sure I smiled over the last 2 years at least once, but I'm definitely smiling today. Who wouldn't be smiling on this beautiful day with amazing opportunity to join the world-class North Atlantic Division? Beautiful weather, thanks. I'll give credit to Chaplain Bailey, our amazing USACE chaplain. I don't know who coordinated the container ship to go by, but that was right on target. Shamira, if you did that, kudos to you. Chief, so many things to say, but thank you for having faith in me to join and lead the team here at NAD. Stacy and I are absolutely honored and humbled at the opportunity and could never thank you enough. We're blessed to have you as the Chief of Engineers. You and Charisse, in our opinion, are a shining example of what right looks like in so many ways. Thank you for all you're doing for the Corps, for the families, and for our Army. I'm honored to continue to serve with you. General Tickner, I'd like to thank you as well and your family for their service over these many years. You've got a beautiful family. It was so nice to finally meet them in person this morning. Thank you for your service to USACE for so many years. Thank you for your friendship and a great transition. Good luck to you in your next assignment. And like the Chief said, I don't think we're losing anything. I think we're gaining. You're going to be a great representative for USACE in the Army at MCOM and AMC, and I look forward to staying in contact with you. We're absolutely lucky to have you. To the NAD team, Stacy and I are both humbled and proud to join your team. I certainly would have never asked Chief to pick any of the divisions. And I remember when you called me in my office and said I was going to be able to lead NAD, that I definitely smiled that day, and I probably jumped up and down after I left your office. I would have never asked Chief, but hands down, if I got to ask, NAD would have been my first choice. It's an incredible team with incredible people, with an incredible mission, and Stacy and I are so happy to join the team. Last but certainly not least, and I am going to hold it together, I would not be here without the amazing support and love from Stacy. She is an absolute rock. For the past 32 years, you are amazing in every way, and I'm lucky to have you by my side. Thank you for enduring one more move, number 16 for us. Thank you for unpacking and preparing another great house and all the magic you do to make happen so I'm able to do the things that I love to do. Jordan, Morgan, Anna, Adam, thank you for your support and love as well. Mom and I are so lucky to have you and love you dearly. Finally, a special shout out to my granddaughter, Sophie, who's just learning to walk. Now, I just want to share you've seen Stacy's the only one that can hold Sophie. Sophie tolerates me but loves Gigi. She's the only one that will stay with Gigi, so we love her and look forward to her growing up here. Again, I could not be more honored to serve in NAD with the many great professionals during this historic time, Chief, for the division in USACE. You talked about the massive program ahead of us, the massive program around the world. I'm just absolutely honored to be able to do that. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony. Building strong, Esseons.
At this time, the Salute Battery Commander, Colonel Meckman, is presenting Major General Tickner a brass casing as a token of remembrance from this ceremony. The New York Fire Department would like to conduct a special tribute to Major General Tickner and his family, along with welcoming Colonel Lloyd and his family. Please direct your attention out on the water in front of you as the fire department salutes these great American families. On behalf of the North Atlantic Division, we wish Major General Tickner and his family continued success and Godspeed. We welcome Colonel, Mrs. Lloyd, and their family as they join the North Atlantic Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Engineer Song, the Army Song, and remain standing for the departure of the official party. On behalf of the Commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we want to thank you for your attendance today. Major General Tickner and his family will receive friends and well-wishers to the front of the seating area. Colonel Lloyd will host a welcome reception near the gazebo behind our seating area following this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending. This concludes today's ceremony.